Yeah, they're like singing praises of Pritam Singh. I mean, like, if you have watched the video, right, you have seen how Umbrtone really drilling him, and
Just say.
Alright, hey guys. You know Raisa Khan recently got called in by the COP for the second time, right? And this time round, she's basically saying that the WP leaders are lying. Have you watched the video?
Yeah.
Snippets of it.
Snippets of it.
I watched snippets of it also.
I watched the entire thing.
Wow.
It was like
How long was it?
1 hour plus.
Yeah, it's a short video compared to Pritam's one.
Pritam one is like 9 hours.
9 hours.
Yeah. And Shavin watched like 2 times.
It's a good exchange, worth watching.
Yeah.
I think I might have watched it 3 times.
I think they clocked almost 30 hours on this saga.
Not just this.
Wow, that's like almost 1.5 days, yeah? Yeah, so based on what y'all have watched, right? Who do y'all think is lying?
Wow. I feel that, right, I never watched Raisa Khan in totality. I watched Pritam Singh's exchange with Umbrtone. I believe that it's a he said, she said kind of situation. So I don't know who is lying, but I hope Pritam Singh is lying, honestly.
Why? Why so?
Because I support.
Okay.
I feel the opposite of him. I wish Pritam is not lying. And the main idea is because if Pritam is lying, it is not just one person falling. If Pritam is lying, the entire party is falling. And more than just the party falling, it is an idea that is falling. Because what does he stand for? He stands for the opposition.
Correct.
As the leader of the opposition, he represents not just his party, but he represents this meta idea that there is going to be some checks and balances.
The role of an opposition party and somehow they are the strongest. No?
Yeah.
If it's like PSP, then okay.
Okay lah.
Bro.
Yeah.
So if he falls, then it'll be quite sad lah.
Yeah.
But with that said, right, I also believe that he is lying here.
I completely
And
disagree.
I'm quite convinced that he is.
Actually, I agree with what you have said. Because from what I've watched about Raisa's video, right, I found there are a few inconsistencies of not on her end, of course. I feel that there are some pointers to be brought up. So maybe we can explore those pointers today. Yeah.
Okay.
So one of it, right, is if you guys can remember during the 4th October, where they were having a parliamentary meeting, right? After Raisa lied to Shanmugam, right, she actually received a text from Pritam saying that let's talk later. So before that, right, actually Raisa texted Pritam saying that what should I do, Pritam? So that's why she received this text lah. So okay, let me paint 2 scenarios to you guys, okay? And then you'll see which one is more likely. So scenario 1 is Pritam asked Raisa Khan to stick to the narrative, and Raisa Khan still stick to the narrative, and then his reply was, let's talk later. Okay? Second scenario, he asked Raisa to come clean, but instead of coming clean, Raisa Khan actually doubled down, right? She lied again and again, correct? So, and then his text will be, let's talk again later. So, which one do you think make more sense and which one do you think is more ridiculous?
That's a very, very good point. Because scenario A kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's possible. Scenario B doesn't seem likely at all. If now she's going against you, why would you just leave it as it is? Okay, let's talk later. Wouldn't your response be something like, Raisa, what the hell are you doing? Didn't we agree on this?
And why are you still lying, right?
Yeah.
But for Pritam's account, to reply to this, right, was because he had some fika bill
to talk on the day.
to talk on the day, right, and he had a lot of other things to talk on the parliament. So his reply was like,
He said his mind was more occupied on that lah.
the other things.
Raisa Khan issue.
Yeah, so that is his defense lah, that his mind was on the Fika debate that was upcoming. But the thing is this, the Fika debate, while important, is not as important as Raisa doubling down on the lie against what you have instructed her to do. Because this is going to cause trouble for your entire party.
Yeah.
I think the least he would have done is like, Raisa, this is not what we agreed on. Never mind, let's talk about this later.
Yeah, because
that's the least.
Because this let's talk about it later was too chill
Yeah,
for
it's
this
too chill.
attitude of
Exactly.
So later on that night, right, they actually had a meeting. So the 3 leaders from the party was there, and Raisa Khan herself. So on that night, right, she actually brought this statement out to the three of them, saying this. Perhaps there's another path.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do y'all think about this statement?
Okay, I feel and this is where the trap is set. Okay, because the thing is, Pritam also agreed that this was what she said.
Pritam also agreed.
Pritam
Yes,
also
Pritam.
agreed.
He said it, yeah.
Yes, and this is the Achilles heel for him.
What is Achilles' heel
That
again?
means if people pierce this, he's gonna drop.
Um,
Why? Because what he's basically saying is, okay, I paint the scenario now. Two scenarios like your scenarios you gave earlier. Okay, scenario 1, he asked her to say X, and she said X. Okay, nothing will happen from this, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Scenario 2, he asked her to say X, and she said Y. Okay, and now she's coming to him and suggesting, why not let's say X? Does it make sense to you? Because right now, even by his own accord, he's saying that she suggested coming up and telling the truth.
Correct.
If that is what you have agreed upon,
Or like
how in the world?
force.
Yeah, you
Do you
instructed
need-
her to do this.
Yeah.
Where is there even a possibility for her to suggest this? Because the fact that she suggested means the consensus amongst you guys is
Was not consistent.
we are not going to tell the truth right
Yeah, correct.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because okay, the thing about both sides, right, is this is what I feel lah. Pritam has to build his own narrative also, and of course his account might be true lah. We don't know for sure. I feel it's not, but we don't know for sure. If he has to build his own narratives, his own narrative, right, there has to be some things that he retains in his narrative that is based on the evidence, based on like WhatsApp text or things that can be corroborated on both ends. Correct? So some of the things are, both of them agreed that she said this. She said, let's explore another path. Maybe perhaps there's another path, which is honesty.
correct.
So in retaining this story, right, what you have basically admitted is she suggested, let's tell the truth, which doesn't make sense at all lah.
Yeah.
Because that means all the way that was not in the picture until Raisa came out and said that, hey, you know what? Let's try this.
Another point I would like to bring up, right, is, you know, the three leaders in WP, they have been sharing that, you know, we want to give Raisa her space, you know,
The time.
the time to tell her family about the sexual assault, lah, you know. But actually, the fact that, right, because the interview, her second interview with the COP, right, she actually said that they, which is the three leaders, did not follow up on her in regarding to this. So it's like, I thought that is your main concern, you know, that's why you did not want to raise the issue, but why is there 2 months for you to follow up, but there's nothing to be done? You did not even ask me about that. Yeah. This is something I find it's...
I think it's very strange lah, because if let's say right now, Pritam's, his argument is this. I told her you need to clarify, but before you do that, I'm willing to give you some space to go and
settle your...
speak to your parents about it. So his only barrier, according to him lah, his only barrier to you coming out in parliament right now is speak to your parents first. The moment you speak to your parents, you have no other excuse. You need to come out already. Correct? So if you know, and Pritam is saying that he instructed her to come out in parliament at least in the October sitting, because she had shingles in September, fine, out of it. But the next time you are in parliament, he wanted her to come out and say that, okay, address the situation. You know, I would like to retract whatever I said. It is not fully true. Okay? If you know that it's going to happen, and this was something that Edwin actually drilled deeper in. If you know that it's going to happen, for sure. And Pritam say, of course, I don't know for sure it's going to happen lah. But then Edwin was brilliant in the way he questioned him.
Yeah.
Because he said there are two scenarios, right? There are two scenarios where it can be brought up. Scenario A is somebody's going to bring it up, maybe Shanmugam or something. And in this scenario, your instruction is address it, tell them that you lied. Scenario B, nobody brings it up. By what you have said, you have instructed her to bring it up herself. So you know for a fact that it is going to come up in the October sitting. So if let's say this is true and he knew that, okay, it is time to address it, then the only barrier you have put in place before she addresses it is
The parents,
coming out to the parents,
Yeah,
right?
why
Wouldn't
didn't
you
you
have
follow up?
exactly? Wouldn't you have asked her, Raisa, you are supposed to speak about this tomorrow. Have you addressed it?
What's your yeah?
Some of
Have
this
you
is not a
addressed
small
your
thing
parents?
though. Yeah.
Another point, right, I find it very interesting is that Edwin actually managed to figure this out. Is that Raisa Khan actually brought her phone when she was interviewed by Mr. Shamugan.
Yeah.
And then and she admitted that she was waiting for the confirmation or the right direction from Pritam, because she texted this to Pritam. What should I do, Pritam?
But for these, right, do they have like the record of it?
Yes. So
WhatsApp text is evidence.
It's a bit weird,
WhatsApp text. And,
Because if you were to, it sounds like she's taking directly from Pritam, and for Pritam's record, it's like, okay, I have been telling her to tell the truth. That itself is a directive. Really, what? Why would you have to text Pritam, or what should I do on the day itself?
if the direction is very clear.
Yeah, it sounds like Pritam just want to wait for the things to just clear out.
And more than just that, right? What it proves is Raisa is actually willingly taking orders from him. So if she's willingly taking orders from you and you stand by that your orders was, come clean, these two won't tally.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that is not telling up for Pritam.
Yeah.
Because I've been speaking to like some of my bosses discussing about this issue, right? He mentioned that firstly, like you will definitely damage WP reputation, right? And you are the first person that lie. You lie in the first place without their consent. I mean, they do not approve of your lie. You're the one that started this whole narrative. And why wouldn't you just because you're the one that lie, and then just to stop this from escalating further, right? Just take the fall.
But is that really true though? Because right, she actually didn't. From what I've spoke to a lot of people, right, to them is this girl she lied, and then subsequently she lied some more. But is that really true? Because right, yes, first time she lied, but the second time, right, she actually, is it really on her own accord in a sense? Did she not try to get some direction?
Yeah, because the thing is, the first lie that she said, which everyone agreed is a lie, was that she accompanied this person to the station. Okay, so that's a lie. That's not like the most grievous lie you can ever say. Okay, it is a lie, yeah, but you didn't lie repeatedly in Parliament. Everyone is now pinning her on the repeated lying in Parliament, which happened, at least according to her, at the instructions of Pritam. So did she do it? Yes. But what is she? She's a puppet. Somebody is pulling her strings. Right or not?
So yeah, a lot of people, right, because the whole interview or is really long. A lot of them, they did not finish everything, So they just watch snippets, Then they have their own thoughts lah, which I find that this might not do justice to the real incident lah,
Yeah, they're singing praises of Pritam Singh. I mean, if you have watched the video, right, you have seen how Edwin Tong really drilling him, and Pritam Singh is just evading, Wow, people sing praises about him. I think it's a bit not right lah.
Okay, so a lot of people, right, have said that, maybe there are some things Pritam is unclear about, and he did it because, his mind was on certain things, and maybe right now he's just telling it as a normal person. Okay, but I tell you, Pritam is a very, very smart guy. So whatever he does, you cannot give him the leeway a normal person gets. What I mean by that is this. If let's say now, if we play poker quite a bit, right? If let's say now, at our level, we do certain things, sometimes it's unpredictable, sometimes it just doesn't make sense, but it happens. Correct? But when you play at the WSOP final table level, this doesn't happen. Everything is predictable, everything is understood. So there was this one match I watched, it was between my favorite player, Daniel Coleman. I think he's probably the best poker player right now. Daniel Coleman and Olivier Bousquet, who's his mentor. Okay, they had this match, and Olivier Bousquet, he went all in on the river. Daniel Coleman folded second nuts. It is almost impossible to fold second nuts, and his second nuts is like a full house, no?
The discipline it needs.
Wow.
It's a full house, and he
It
folded
must be something more than just discipline.
There was only one hand that beat him, and that was pocket kings. If I'm not mistaken, he was holding aces. Olivier was holding kings. On the board, there were 2 kings, 1 ace, and 2 other cards.
So it's like a full house versus quads.
Yeah. And you almost never fold aces when you made full house.
Yeah.
Never happens. But Daniel Coleman folded. And I tell you, the respect I have for this guy for this fold is incredible. Because almost nobody ever does this.
So what made him fold?
Yes.
That's the question.
So why did he fold? He folded because when you play at that level, there can be only 2 possibilities here. Nuts or nothing. It's a stone cold bluff or it is the absolute nuts. Okay, so it's very logical, right? If Olivier did nothing to show that it could possibly be a bluff, then there's only one option left. So when after the whole event, Daniel Coleman was being interviewed, he was asked why did you fold there, holding the second nuts? It's almost unfathomable to fold holding full house aces. He said that in all streets, it made no sense for Olivier to be bluffing. So when I excluded that option, it could only mean the nuts. Damn sick.
The read, man.
Yeah. So what Pritam is doing, he is operating like these guys, no? Which means we cannot afford him the bluff of a common poker player like us. He is playing at the highest level. So when he is doing something like this, right, you cannot. The slightest things.
His body language.
Yes, the slightest things are indicative of whether or not he's telling the truth or not. So these are the tells, I feel.
And what are the tells?
Okay, so like for example, all the logical stuff that we brought up and she brought up, right? These are all the tells because a guy like this will never make these kind of mistakes.
Can't run away with the facts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And okay, if let's say we divorce ourselves from the evidence, we look at psychology, right? We're talking about poker, right? In poker, there are certain tells. For example, if you play with somebody and you notice he's doing some kind of action where he does whenever he bluffs, you know that he's probably bluffing now also. Okay, so a tell that psychologists have determined is this. You guys know who Bill Clinton is? Okay, one of the former presidents of the States, right? There was a time where he had an affair with his secretary, okay? So Monica Lewinsky was doing some dirty deed beneath the lectern, and when he came out to address the situation, right, he said this: I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Okay, so this is verbatim what he said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Okay, one thing that psychologists deduce is this: when a person at his level tries to distance themselves from the subject, which is the secretary, he could have he could have referred to her.
There's no reason to actually call her that woman. She's your secretary.
He could have said my secretary, he could have said Monica, because he would normally refer to her as Monica. But when he tried to distance himself, it showed that this guy
He's hiding something.
is hiding something. And I noticed the same thing in Pritam also.
What did he say?
So Pritam refers to Raisa as Raisa, correct? In a formal setting like this, COP inquiry and stuff, you refer to her as Miss Khan, fine.
Correct.
Okay, so there are times where he interchangeably call her Raisa and Miss Khan is fine. But there have also been times where he referred to her as that member or the member.
The circumstances, in my judgment, were of such a nature that I was prepared to give the member time.
Why? Because he's trying to distance himself from it.
Now I understand where the 30 hours go to already.
Analyzing every sentence.
Every word.
Because
I
for people who
see.
operate at this level, right, you cannot give them the leeway you would give a normal person like us.
True.
Because they can just play their game.
They won't falter. So when they falter, it's indicative of something.
So based on this, right, what are your thoughts? What are your think that will happen in the end?
Okay, I feel there are probably 2 possibilities. So the first one is this: everyone holds strong on Pritam's end except one person. So the chink in his armor is Faisal.
Okay, why?
So why I feel that way is because if right now, and my view is Pritam is lying, right? If right now Pritam is lying, you need to be a certain sort of person to hold a lie all the way. Correct? I believe Pritam has what it takes.
Correct.
Not that he's you know, an
A bad
egregious
person,
guy or
yeah.
something, but he can do it lah. I believe Sylvia can do it also. But Faisal, I feel, is a good guy. I think he's a righteous person. Morally, I think he's solid. So for him to
Carry
hold
on.
on to the lie,
Yeah.
I think it's eating him inside.
And somehow because he was there. If anything, like he was there when during the meeting, and you know they say what they say lah.
Yeah, it is not a white lie, no. This is affecting Raisa quite badly also.
Very badly.
Very
I-
badly.
you can
Outrightly
see.
lying in front of Raisa, no, saying that I did not say that.
Okay, just sidetrack, but you can see her during like the COP questioning, right? She looks like
Jack,
D-Cosh, yeah. She looks like D-Cosh after the allegations, yeah. Like honestly, I'm not. It's not a joke, but it really is, right? She looks.
She feel like
like
Yeah.
she feel like she has beaten up. Like she's
Yeah.
willing to give all the truth. I feel this is her reaction lah, her expression. So
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so I think what possibly can happen, scenario A is Faisal breaks. So he doesn't want to continue lying. He reveals that, okay, actually, you know what? We agreed she shouldn't bring it up. And if it's brought up, try to brush it aside. But we realized this might damage the party, so we said certain things. And I apologize to Raisa. You know, I understand this happened.
the entire Workers' Party for
Because this is doing because he's a good person lah. So if he does it, then that's it. WP is gone lah. That's the first scenario, which I think probably will not happen.
But
It's
it'll be
very unlikely lah.
it'll be hard for him though if he, don't give.
And
him
this is of course assuming that we are right and Pritam is lying. Assuming that
Definitely,
it's a
yeah.
big assumption.
Wow, if
But
Pritam
this-
is lying, right, like the whole WP will crumble, yeah. Cause like everybody is like taking his side. Like,
Yeah, as in
sticking to his
if
narrative,
he's
lah.
lying and it can be proven that he's lying lah.
Yeah.
Because right now I believe this smart fella, he would have covered all his bases. His tracks are all clear. The only chink in his armor is Faisal lah. Okay, so that's the first scenario, right? The second scenario, which I think probably is the more likely scenario, is they give Raisa a slap on the wrist. Because the COP, and this is what I feel lah, they have deduced that Pritam is lying. Yes, I believe their line of questioning and the way Edwin is navigating this whole inquiry, they believe that Pritam is lying. They're just trying to call him out on it.
Yeah.
So if they cannot do it, if the evidence doesn't land on their laps, it will be difficult for them to do anything to Pritam. But they still have the option of not doing something very severe to Raisa. So I believe if they don't give her that severe of punishment, right, that's basically their way of telling the opposition and the whole Singapore that we believe Pritam lied. Which I think probably that is the most likely cause of action lah.
Okay, guys, I got one final question for you guys lah. So let's say if you guys are Raisa, okay, and WP lied, okay, so you know you are part of you were the ex-member of WP, you know what they stand for, and you know that if you come out and tell the truth, right, it will damage the reputation that WP have built throughout the years. Would you have come out and tell the truth, like what she's doing now?
It's a difficult question, moral dilemma.
I will just tell the truth. As in like I won't take the heat lah. Because correct, I started the lie, but then after that it feels like if it's true that they ask me to lie and then they suddenly turn their backs on me, right, then am I supposed to take it?
And not only like turning your back on you, like they are like really damaging a career until like really jealous, yeah.
They didn't just throw her under the bus. They throw her under the bus and reverse. Reverse go,